Hey, this is Todd White and Bryce Eddy. We're very sorry we can't be there at this particular moment, but we will be there shortly, and we're looking forward to seeing you and hanging out with you and sharing a whole bunch of stories with you. There's a lot to tell you. We're here at the private showroom in Los Angeles, California today, and soon we'll be hanging out with you, and I gotta tell you, the anticipation is great, and we really can't wait.
Why don't you tell them a little bit about the excitement, Todd?
Well, Bryce, since you asked, let me tell you about that. Intoxication at the Flower Lounge is, first let's talk about the title of the painting. The title of the painting is one of those few that completely embodies the painting itself, okay? And the whole feeling and vibe behind this painting is about that guy that we've all seen at those bars who is so overly intoxicated, and at this point in the game, he's thinking he's really cute and funny, but he's just embarrassing himself. And of course, he finds the three hottest girls there, who are basically that clique of girls that they're there to be there for themselves and not be picked up on and not get hit on. And they're doing their own thing. But even in a group of girls like that, they still like the come on, and they still like to get the praise. In the group of three, you'll notice one of them has this kind of like, maybe I'm interested attitude, but the other two are like, excuse me, we're talking here. This is conversations A, B, so see your way out of it. And that whole painting kind of came about from obviously an experience that I've experienced, but also from just sketchbooks and doing these sketches and over again in drawings. And I had this one guy who was literally falling down, and it just kind of flowed with those girls, and it worked great. The original painting I did of that, on the originally had a girl on the other side, and it just felt odd, so I removed her, and then, the background is just kind of this kind of generic wallpaper feel to it, but I just really love the colors and the way it all comes together.
I think I've been that guy. All right, I like the new pieces. Tell me about Someone's About to Get Hustled.
Someone's About to Get Hustled is that typical American pool playing, iconic kind of genre that I was going for. It's everything from Paul Newman and the Sting to any pool, from Jackie Gleason to Fats Domino's. I wanted to do I love pool players and I love pool cues, and I just love the whole idea. I'm terrible at it, but I love the whole idea of it. And I also like the faded tones and grays and greens and muted reds that you get in kind of the pool halls, the pool felt, that whole feel, that vibe of it. And I think while a lot of us may not dabble in that world, just like a lot of us wouldn't dabble in the world of Vegas and that Rat Pack, we all love that vibe. And so that's what this painting really came about, was just that whole vibe. And most of my painting is going to be about a vibe of something that we all romanticize over and are romantic about. I love the idea of drinkers and partiers and boozers, and women are broads and the men are men, and they're drinking and gambling, but I don't really partake in any of that, but I love painting it, and I live in that fantasy world of it. And the pool piece itself is the idea that sometimes at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning when I'm scrolling across ESPN, and I'll be on ESPN2, you'll see the billiards tournaments from England or the billiards tournaments from Montana, where they'll have the women playing, and they're just as sharp as the men. And I just love the idea of this really hot, sexy woman playing pool. I mean, these three kind of hustler type dudes who are all like excited about it, and like any field that you're in, I mean, I'm an artist, so I have that romance fantasy about another female artist, and how it'd be. Now, the funny thing is, I've talked to a lot of artists who married artists and say the reality is a nightmare because it's just this constant competition and battle. But
Sure.
But I like the idea of it, and it's just fun to have that, imaginary romance with it, and that's what that painting's all about.
I love it. All right, so tell me about The Wound She Leaves Behind. And first, before you do, I know that was one that you didn't really want to release, and it wasn't until people reacted to it in a way, and it resonated with people. I know that wasn't one you wanted to even let anybody have.
As any artist would do, you have certain pieces that, I don't know if it doesn't gel with me. I try not to be too much of a judge anymore. I've learned that the hard way. There are paintings I'll do that I feel maybe they're not representing what I wanted at that moment that I was trying to capture, but it took on a life of its own and it went in a different direction. And it kind of went in a darker direction than I normally like to go. And I realized that's like, you know, the fine art world loves that when it goes into the dark and gets heavy. But I didn't go into it with that intention in the beginning of that feeling, but it turned into that and it got really kind of dark on me. And I really didn't want to put that out. And several people had seen the original in the studio and they commented on it. And I kind of would always just brush it off and say, no, it's for another time. And then Rod over in the UK, when he saw it and he showed the galleries in Clarendon over there, they really took to it, which sometimes as an artist, you know, you have to be, you have to guard and protect your work in a way that you have to always guide it, because it's like this. Every artist is on a boat and a raft floating down a river. And at any point, you can go in the wrong steerway and you can beach yourself and you're done, sitting up on the shore. So that's how I feel anyway, is that it's constantly these rapids that you're guiding through and this world that we're in where you don't want to make a misstep, you know, and yeah, things can happen along the way and they can turn other directions and it can flip from 180 in 2 seconds. But, you know, in the past, I've had a lot more people involved in that process, and I've since reined that in and really taken control of what I am releasing, and it's my word, and what I say goes at the end of the day. And so, you know, at the same time, having said that, I still want to not judge my own work too much, because I don't have your feelings, I don't have your emotion on what you're feeling and what that work means to you. And that, after all, is what art's all about, what that piece means to you, not what it means to me. So sometimes I get a little perturbed doing these stories of what the painting means to me, because it's not always going to mean the same for everyone. So that's a pretty heavy piece, and it's going to mean a lot different to a lot of people. So I'm just going to leave it at that on the story of her, but that is how that came about, and that is why you now have that as a release in the UK.
Well, it certainly struck a chord with a lot of people, so it'll be interesting to see.
Well, thanks. I think just loving so many things in life. Obviously, we just love women so much, and you know, we're constrained by society's rules, and we play within those rules. So I think it's best to keep these girls better off in my head.
And you got a girl for everyone in there.
You do, yeah. And it's one of those that come along that was really fun. I just love painting it, every angle of it, every aspect of it, every emotion I was putting into each one of the girls, and kind of trying to give each one its own unique personality and its own take. And of course, you know, you base it off of what you know. So I was basing them off certain girlfriends or certain friends of mine, wives or girlfriends, and you know, just playing it out, that little fantasy of these girls that you know, you wish you could have them all, but you can't, so they're better off in your head.
I like it. That one works. So what's a shady table about?
Shady table is just your typical poker piece. It's any world championship series of poker that you turn on. You have your guys wearing their glasses, wearing their disguises, wearing their mask. It's kind of like my version of the dogs playing poker. And it's just a fun poker piece. It's a piece that people will relate to, because that's them and their buddies, and they're, you know, on their poker night, guys' night. And myself, terrible poker player, but I do love the vibe and atmosphere that goes along with it, because I believe that art, if you're not a pro, then you're just doing it to the camaraderie and to hang out and to be with your buddies and play poker and tell guy tales.
Right.
And that's what that piece to me embodies. It's just guy tales, you know, and it's just a solid gambling piece.
It's a fun piece. So tell me about her first screen test.
There are two types of paintings that are my personal favorite that come to me. Number one is when I'm in a conversation with someone and they'll make a series of comments, or they'll say something, and I'll take a snippet out of their speech and I'll go, oh, I got an idea for that. That's funny. The second kind is when I'm in the middle of painting one painting, and in the middle of it I'm thinking, well, wouldn't it be interesting if I did this, like that? And there I got another painting. And if it's different enough, then I'll do it as another painting, because I can't stand doing the same painting over and over again as a different color background.
So what you're saying is the painting's evolving?
Yeah, it has to evolve. And a producer friend of mine, director Sean Ryan, who created The Shield, he contacted me and said, hey, for their anniversary, I'd like you to paint her and her love of film and movies and do something unique. So the way I came up with was kind of like an old style. I painted her portrait as kind of being more in the 20s, and the cameras being much older, much bigger, and much blockier, and on the big heavy sticks. And I had so much fun painting that when it was done, I gave it to him and he loved it. And then I still felt like I had some more in the tank on that one, and I wanted to do some more. So then I created up my own kind of flapper girl, if you will, and made her the way I see kind of a young, innocent girl getting in front of the camera in those days in the first time, her first screen test. And again, it was just, you know, I really, really loved doing the research of the old cameras and the old cranking cameras. And I actually watched some old Charlie Chaplin movies with, you know, they're running around and filming and the old boxing events, believe it or not, from the TV, when, man, you'd see those guys in the back just cranking away. And so it was just, that's also where action sticks came from. And, you know, those type of paintings are fantastic when you're in the middle doing one and you get even, it's like doubling your meat patties up. You get another idea on top of it, and then you get another idea, and it just, man, you go with it. You don't try to stop that when it starts flowing. So that's where that one came about, and I think it wraps up my 6 for the UK, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's a pretty solid collection, and I don't have some snappy title for it this year. It's just the 6th I'm releasing, and we'll see where it goes, and we'll be over there shortly. So,
Well, they're all great, and I'm sure they're all going to do well. And you know, I know everybody's excited to see them all unveiled.
yeah, I'm very excited. So, we'll see you soon. The future is so bright, I've got to wear shades.